Hey, Wixman Ray here. It's Tuesday, May 19th, 2026, 8:52 p.m. Central Time. Hey, I wanted to address something. I had one or two of my followers comment about the audio. I also had a comment about the video one time too, but I think that might have been on my shorts. But with my audio, so I'm doing this all on my laptop, real low tech. I have bought a microphone that I can hook on and it'll be better quality. I've just been lazy and haven't gotten it out yet, but I will try to get that out in the next day or two and improve the audio quality for you all. For now, I'm keeping my my myself closer to the laptop so maybe you can hear me a little bit better because they said to turn up the volume. So and I don't know how else to turn up the volume on my laptop other than what I have going on right now. I'm pretty low tech on some of this stuff, so sorry, excuse my ignorance. Okay, lost my train of thought here, but anyways, so we got our IR satellite loop going since it's getting to be late at night, and this is our best alternative to use. This shows us the cloud top temperatures. Um, we'll start out west, so we've got a little wave, shortwave trough, as us meteorologists call it, moving through the northern Rockies and extending out into southern Canada there. And there's a few showers up across Montana there. Um, I'm not sure if they go any farther south. Also, some clouds farther south and some stuff out in the northwest. There's another wave off the coast there, but that's really not bringing too much weather right now to the Pacific Northwest other than some high clouds. Then we got this other wave here sitting across Colorado down through Arizona, and we've got some precipitation out here, mainly in Colorado and northern New Mexico. Farther south is dry, and there's some more waves coming up from the subtropics down here, um, off the Pacific down here, and that'll keep several waves going across this part of the country as we go through the end of the week here, combined with the stuff that's coming down from the north here. So, all right, so then we got this old got a cold frontal boundary still extends out of Canada here, and we still got some showers and thunderstorms extending across the Great Lakes, down into Ohio, Indiana, and then down into parts of Kentucky and southern Missouri and southern Illinois, and then down into the south here, parts of western Tennessee, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and really going good across Texas here. We got some really strong to severe storms. I think there's a couple severe warnings off these storms out here in Texas here. Um, and this is where we've got a little bit of energy that came out of the southwest from yesterday that's helped to enhance this stuff across Texas. And we talked about that yesterday, how this whole area would see an uptick in thunderstorm activity or convection, as us meteorologists like to call it. Um, so for any of you aspiring weathermen or meteorologists out there, that's what we call it, convection. So, anyways, otherwise, pretty quiet across the southeast. There was a couple isolated storms across southern Georgia into Florida, but for the most part, they're dying off. I don't really think there's much left on radar. Maybe there's a few showers left. And then we had this was that old system from a couple days ago that brought severe weather on Monday across the central part of the country, and there was some showers and storms. Maybe there's a little bit stuff around Cape Cod, some showers left over, and that extended down into like New Jersey and near Philadelphia area and across, like near the DC area or just north of them. But I think most of that's gone. There still might be a couple isolated showers, but really not much to say. So, yeah, this is the big system right here, with most of the activity down in the south here from Texas on to the east across the mid south there. And then we got a couple waves out west. So that's kind of the bottom line of what's going on Here's our surface observations for the country. We'll start up in the Northeast today. Pretty warm across most of the Northeast. 60s, 70s. A little bit cooler up in Caribou in the upper 50s. And then some 80s as you get farther south. Syracuse is 82 still, and it's almost 10 o'clock at night there. So, and this is updated, right? I think that's updated. So I don't tell you a lie. Yep, that's updated. So it's pretty warm out there. And the front's approaching them, so they'll cool off probably later tonight. It looks like the rain's coming to Buffalo. So that front will make its way through tonight through tomorrow morning and start cooling things down. You can already see 60s and 70s back here. But the front is weakening, so you're not going to see as much cold air across the Northeast. It may drop, about 10 degrees, 15 degrees at the most, but nothing like we saw in the Central Plains where it went from 80 to like upper 50s today in Kansas City. That's all we reached today was like 58. So enough about that. We'll talk about that later, but got some line of storms and rain here going through Ohio and into northwest Pennsylvania. Looks like we had one severe warning. Is that a severe warning? What is that? Severe thunderstorm warning out there. So across parts of Ohio there. So that's kind of, where is that? It's kind of, let's see, what's this station? So it's kind of southeast of Newark, Heath Airport in Ohio. Yeah, so we got a line of storms there. We'll probably bring in some gusty winds there. And as you head farther south, they're a little more scattered across southern Indiana and northern parts of Kentucky. And we won't go way out there. We'll cover that late in a minute. The Mid-Atlantic, or this area, yeah, there was a couple showers. It looks like Philadelphia had rain, but that was at the top of the air. It looks like it's gone. All this stuff's disappearing, so it's going to bed. For the rest of the southeast, really quiet, still in the 70s, a couple 80s here and there. 79 at the ATL in Atlanta, 79 in Birmingham, Jacksonville, Florida, 78, and we had a few showers across Florida, but they're all going offshore. Oh yeah, there still is a few thunderstorms here near Valdosta, Georgia here that are holding together, but those should be gone probably in the next hour or two at the latest. So yeah, some real rogue stuff too over there by Dothan, Alabama, near Fort Rucker. Fort Rucker's there's Enterprise. Fort Rucker's in this area. I spent a couple years down there. Unfortunately, for those who love that part of the world, I'm sorry, but yeah, there's a couple of showers and storms up into northwest Florida here, north of Perry Foley Airport, kind of the east of Tallahassee there. All right, enough of that. So as we get into, so now as we get down here towards Texas, we got some misbehaving storms, several severe thunderstorm warnings here. Looks like that stuff's near Austin there. Yeah, maybe just to the north of Austin. It's got some severe storms. Looks like probably mainly gusty winds. Maybe a little bit of hail in there, but yeah, those storms are heading towards the Austin area. And then we got some farther back to the west here, up here between Del Rio and what is this, Junction City? Yeah, I think Kimball's Junction, Kimball. I don't know. I don't know my Texas cities down there very well. But yeah, you got some showers and thunderstorms. Kind of north of it, it's mostly rain, but that could be some embedded lightning and thunder. Looks like there was lightning back here, so you definitely got embedded lightning in that shield of rain. Same thing going on in Louisiana. Looks like another severe warning just kind of the northwest of the Houston metro area. And then some pretty good storms all across Mississippi, Louisiana, and Arkansas and western Tennessee. A little bit of rain left over in southeast Missouri. A few showers up in southern Illinois. So, yeah, but You can see that, man. Even in Oklahoma City, it's in the 50s, 54. So very cool behind this. Got 50s, 60s back here. DFW 67, so they're probably wearing jackets out there. Yeah, it's 54 right now. I think our high was 58 or something. I watched my thermometer. I was in my car most of the day. 58, I think, was the highest temperature I saw. I had to wear my hoodie all day. I put on my shorts and my legs were kind of cold all day, but luckily I was in my vehicle for most of the time. And then here's a wave out here in Colorado that we talked about. There's some rain going on out here. Probably some high mountain snow. It looks like temperatures are in the 40s and 50s out here. Um, Looks like a few areas of gusty winds, but nothing widespread. Especially down here in New Mexico and Arizona, gusting up to about 30 to 35 miles an hour out of the south and southwest. So a little bit of winds out there. 79 in Albuquerque, 85 El Paso, only 88 in Phoenix. Nice day there. 79 in Vegas, man. A beautiful day to be in Vegas the last couple days. San Diego's around 70, and then we got some upper about 80s in the Central Valley of California. Northern Nevada looks like we got some 60s. Looks like Elko's sensor went out yesterday, so yeah, I see some 60s and 70s, 62 in Salt Lake. So I'm guessing it's probably around 65 to 62 in Elko, because these are around 6,000 feet and they're upper 50s and they're about 7 o'clock at night. So the sun's about to set in about an hour out there, hour and a half or so. Yeah, and then we got a bunch of showers here from, looks like a little bit extended to northern Idaho and northern Wyoming, but most of it's in Montana. Still kind of cool out there, some 50s and 60s here and there. Warmer as you get back towards Seattle. A little bit cooler today than it has been, around 60, but not a bad day overall in Seattle. It's not like a washout rain event like they get a lot of times. So they're having some nice weather the last couple days out there. Portland 68, Medford 74. So yeah, I like to mention Medford. That's a pretty cool town. It's a nice little town. It's a small town, but yeah, I drove through there once and I was like, I wouldn't mind living here. They got nice climate there. Anyways, hey, that's about it. That's all I'm going to say for that. Go ahead and get to our forecast model here. Try not to drag this out to 30 minutes again today. So, yeah, here's our front here. That little wave out in Colorado, maybe a little underdone. This looks pretty close out there in Montana and northern Idaho. And yeah, actually this is over the next 6 hours, so that looks a little better for Colorado. And then our front's going on. So as we go through the morning, a lot of this stuff's going to die down. We'll still have some areas of rain, showers mostly, maybe a couple isolated storms embedded in this. And then down in Texas, this stuff even decreases. And then we start seeing some stuff breaking out in eastern New Mexico, West Texas towards midday as this wave starts moving out of the Rockies. And we still got this activity up here in the northern Rockies and Montana there. And you see the front moving up into the northeast with some scattered showers. It looks like maybe a couple thunderstorms for tomorrow, but looks like by tomorrow afternoon the front sweeps through the northeast and it kind of extends across to, New York City down to Philadelphia and West Virginia, and then down towards the south here, towards the southeast. There's some showers and thunderstorms along this front here. But it looks like it's a lot weaker than it has been. And then this is the next wave coming out, and you see all this. So we're going to have some pretty vigorous storms, maybe some severe out here in West Texas. We'll show you the convective outlook. Maybe stuff extending a little farther east, even into Louisiana a little bit, all the way north up into almost Nebraska there. And then this next wave comes down. Looks like we start seeing some activity up in North Dakota. So that's another wave that's going to be coming out of the Rockies towards the end of the week. So as we go through Thursday, so this front kind of lingers out here, so you'll see showers kind of lingering across the mid-Atlantic all the way through Thursday, and that extends across the south here. And then we kind of get a inverted trough, and this is part of this whole wave that came out of here. It's going to bring some showers, maybe a couple thunderstorms up into Missouri near Kansas City, parts of Kansas and Oklahoma, Arkansas, and at least the western half of Missouri there. And then we see this system. This is that next system coming that was out here in Montana. It's going to start bringing some thunderstorms across the Dakotas. And see, it looks like we see some snow again out there in Wyoming there. So I don't think it's going to be like it was, but yeah, and that kind of spreads across the northern plains Friday morning with some rain and thunderstorms possibly. So you kind of got this wave on Friday, kind of coming up through the northern plains, Nebraska and the Dakotas. I think that'll mostly be rain, but there could be some thunder embedded in some of that, especially the southern portions. Then it looks like this is kind of the remnants of that stuff that came out of Texas on Wednesday. See how that went up and kind of moves northeast. Yeah, and you get that front starts to retreat to the north, so here's what's left, and you kind of see this. It combines with that remnants of that front. It turns into a warm front on Friday, so like Friday morning and through the day, that lifts up to the north and brings rain all across parts of the east here, and goes up into the Great Lakes, and yeah, so all the way through Friday. So this whole area is going to really get rainy and thundery. Then we see this feature. This is another wave coming out of the southwest here. We get a low pressure forming out here, like in eastern New Mexico, and you get a little bit of almost like a warm front, but probably, I guess you could call it a weak warm front, but it's going to be like a convergent zone with some easterly flow. So you're going to see a lot of shear in here across this part of, probably western Oklahoma, maybe a little bit into West Texas. And so this area, they're kind of pinging for slight risk, at least for Friday. So keep an eye out there in Oklahoma, maybe even the panhandle of Texas a little bit. And then we'll have some ongoing showers and storms. It's just going to be kind of wet across Texas, parts of Texas anyways, into parts of the south and southeast and all the way up and through here over the next couple days, on and off rain. So kind of an unsettled pattern, especially across the eastern half of the country. And that'll slowly lift into the northeast through Saturday, but we're not going to really talk about Saturday, but that's kind of what it's doing. So, but no real strong systems. We just got a few of these waves coming through. There could be a marginal risk here and there, other than that slight risk I told you about that they're painting for Friday. So we'll just have to monitor it. I'm not seeing anything organized severe through Friday for now. So yeah, so this is for the rest of tonight. They got mostly a marginal, a little bit of a slight risk out here, and I think most of this stuff is gonna be weakening, so probably not much threat left, maybe through the next couple hours at the most up here. There might be an isolated severe, but back here in Texas, I think it'll go at least till about midnight or 2 a.m. or something, and then it'll quiet down. I think that's my thinking. Really not much of a tornado threat. See, that's just a small threat down there around like that Del Rio area, and more of a wind and hail threat, especially across that Texas area. Then as we go into tomorrow, really quiet. Like I said, there's a little bit of a risk out here in eastern New Mexico, West Texas, especially down farther south here. They got a slight risk, so keep an eye out down there. There could be a few severe storms. A couple severe storms out here along this boundary here. We'll see. I guess they're seeing maybe something enough to put a marginal area, so looks like the tornado threat's less than 2%, so it's pretty low. It's mostly a wind, mainly hail out here. That's their biggest threat. A little bit of wind threat, but yeah. So I guess you could get 1 or 2 storms out here in the Mid-Atlantic up through, New York City area. So down towards DC and Virginia, but yeah, we'll see. And then as you go into Thursday, really not much going on. They paint a small area out here in eastern Colorado, down here in the high plains. So we'll see what happens out there. So nothing to write home about. And then for day 4, they got a really small area that part's of West Texas Panhandle up into western parts of Oklahoma there. So very small area painted. That's probably about as small as they can paint. After that is too low, but like I said, even through, and that's on Friday, so that's all as far as we're going. Those other bands, like I said, maybe they'll put in a marginal risk here and there. We'll see if there's enough shear and instability along those lines of storms. But yeah, that's all I got. So yeah, I did read your comments. Sometimes it takes me a week or two or even 3. Actually, I hadn't looked at my comments in quite a while on my page, but I saw a couple more recent ones over the past few days. So I will try to do better on my audio, especially. I'm looking at ways maybe to have my face in the camera while I'm doing this on the screen. So maybe I'll have one of my kids help me do that, or I'll read about it and try to figure it out. So, but because I've got cameras, I've got all that kind of stuff to do like a podcast type thing. So yeah, but I haven't, maybe I could do a podcast type setup, but it might get boring. I don't know. It would just be weather, maybe other stuff. I don't want to talk about politics because I don't. I feel like politics will just divide people, and that's not what I'm about. This not. I have my own opinions and my own. I'm kind of independent thinking, so I'm not for one side or the other. I'm kind of more of a moderate, I think. So I'll just say that moderate, but I'm not for any one party because they're both they both have issues, and they both in both ways have gone kind of far left or far right in certain areas. So that's all I have to say about that. But if I ever do a podcast, I'll make it interesting. Talk about science and weather stuff. And I love geology. I love earthquakes. I love weather. I love anything science related. I love the stars, and I even have a telescope. I haven't looked through it in a while, but I need to. But I've always loved that stuff. So I'm just rambling on, but I'm just thinking of some ideas of some other things I can add to this channel, even though we're Wixman right here. And I appreciate you that say you enjoy my news or my channel. I guess that's what you can call it, is news, but I'm really trying to educate people and also keep you updated on the weather. And there's plenty of apps out there, and it gives you what you need to know. And most of them are pretty accurate. Oh yeah, back on that, I think 2 or 3 days ago I mentioned to you about that Everything Weather app. I did verify it. That was developed by a WCM, Warning Coordination Meteorologist. That's what that stands for. I believe he's in Corpus Christi, so I think he's still in the Weather Service. So what I did read on Facebook is true. So I told you the truth, but I wanted to tell you what I found out. I always try to go back and verify my information. I'm not here to be like a politician and lie to you or exaggerate shit. Sorry, I said it again. Yeah. Sometimes I use language. I have my reasons why I use language. That's because, anyways, I won't say it. So, anyways, um, I appreciate y'all, and we'll go ahead and wind this down. And please like and subscribe and let your kids know. And I would advise you maybe to, if you want your kids to watch this or your grandkids, maybe view it yourself and just make sure there isn't any word that slipped out. I've been trying to do much better. Every once in a while, I say mostly the SHIT word, but I don't usually use any of the F or those kind of words. I try to keep it clean and, professional. So, yeah. So, but yeah, things slip out. We're all human. So, anyways, hey, yeah, this is about educating you, the adults, from the old 99-year-old to the 9-month old. Well, maybe not the 9-month old, but the 9-year-old or even 6-year-old that can understand weather. Let invite them in. If you got any special needs kids, I think they'd be interested in this. I know sometimes special needs they love math and science type things, and that's what weather's all about is math and science, man. So a Down syndrome kid, I think, could do this job. Even autistic, at least mildly autistic, I believe they can do this kind of work. You know, they're not the same as what we call normal, but they're special in their own way. And because I have a special needs grandson, he's Down syndrome and autistic, so he has both. But I think those kind of kids are also some of the smartest. So, anyways, yeah, so invite them here. So, hey, that's all I've got to say today. I appreciate you all, and I'll try to get my little what do you call it? My speaker thing that I bought. I actually bought it like months ago, but since I've kind of been in the process of moving to Missouri, it's kind of got put, on hold. But as I get more stable, it will come out, and I'll improve this audio at least, and I'll try to find ways to improve the video. Maybe at least have my face in there so you can see what I'm saying, and because I know some of those other guys have their face showing while they're doing the weather, and they got all that high speed stuff. It's just me though. I don't know. Maybe they have a team of a couple people, or at least they got a techie guy. There's no techie guy here. They just have this 59-year-old Ray here, who only programming I know how to do was BASIC back in the day. I used to actually know how to program in BASIC. I learned that back in the 80s when computers were just coming out. So, anyways, that's a little bit about me and enough about me. So, hey, I appreciate you all. Wickspan Ray out.